back to another episode of Major Minor. And I just realized my sound is not piping through the right platform here. Alright, there we go. That's much better. um, so, let's get back into it. Because where we left off, we did a bunch of questions in order to finish getting some achievements. And we are still in Chapter 2. And met Endymion and Conrad. And now we're doing some sort of immigration form, if I recall correctly. Here, let's see. Let me just get my information up here. So the immigration form, we have to answer certain questions. Well, this first one is self-explanatory. Are you a boy or are you a girl? Just humor me and play along for now. Getting some why is the name escaping me all of a sudden? Some Pokemon flashbacks here. Alright, I'm gonna pick I'm a female. And a good looking one at that. I beg to differ in reality, but starting with the obvious, I guess. A large corporation wants to hire you. Do you prefer a leading role or not? And Endymion, or Conrad, you could say. I'm a follower. That's more like it. You have so much more freedom that way. You get held back the higher up you are. Red tape, restrictions, policies. A savior would rather be a follower? Can't say I would have expected that. Anyway, moving on. Let's see here. Do you consider yourself skeptical? Or are you an easily trusting person? I think I know the answer to that one. I'm definitely a skeptic. Wait, I was wrong? It wouldn't be the first time, Conrad. Hey, that's not nice. I thought I got a pretty good read on her. Right. You're about to go to war. Would you prefer to attack or defend? Oh, now we're digging a little deeper. Remember, there are no wrong answers. We are simply defining you on paper. To that end, what position do you prefer? Attacking? In other words, you'd rather be hostile. I like you more and more. Starting to think you'd make a fine protege. Now, allowing us to move on. Would you take one life to save many? That's kind of what we do every day. Do you think you'd be able to do it? Take a life for the greater good? For the greater good? Oh, sorry. A little distracted by my cat. That's what I thought. Can't be the savior without getting dirty. Maybe we need a third assassin, Indy. I won't even humor the thought. They're destined for much greater things. Kitty, please be careful. Don't hurt me. I guess we'll have to wait and see. Alright. We're almost done, I promise. You're running late to your destination. The paths before you are as follows. There is a short but dangerous route, and a long but much safer route. If you take the long route, you may be late. But the short route may lead to your death. What route do you take? Long and safe. You mean kind of like we're doing now? This is incredibly boring, though. I'd love for something eventful to happen. And put the savior at risk? Why would that be a good decision to make? I didn't say it would be a good decision. I'm saying it would be a fun one. Conrad winks at me. I shrug it off. Just one more question, I promise. Besides, we're almost to town. About time. Do you prefer the company of others, or do you prefer to be alone? I prefer being alone. I let them know that I like being alone. Present company excluded, I hope? You're wounding me. Conrad. I apologize for his words. Etiquette was not in his curriculum. However, fortunately, we have concluded. Not a moment too soon, either. The town is just a few moments ahead. I can't make many detours, but we need to hand in these papers. We'll make a quick stop, and that's it. We should probably check our mail, too. That's true. Kaylin may have written. Damien looks at me and sighs loudly. I guess you're in luck, Xavier. You'll get to see the Wayfarer's Tavern. It's the hottest place to be on Terra. He's joking, of course. We just stay there sometimes. And we own one of their postal boxes. They serve drinks, too. Conrad likes that. But really, it's an immigration office. They just need to spice it up a bit. True. Nobody likes mail and immigration. But everyone and their mom loves drinking. If you look ahead, you can see it. He points ahead, and I see he's right. A small town is coming into view. A bar that doubles as the immigration office. Sounds weird, but so does everything as of late. At least we can take care of two matters at once. Handing them my papers and checking their mail. Then maybe, just maybe, I can meet their king. He would definitely have the answers I seek. Ugh. No. No, kitty. No, kitty. Back on Earth, deep into the night of Clace's death. Here we go. Ooh, what is this and who is this? I must admit, it seems rather suspicious. But these midnight dusts? I never believed in them to begin with. Or rather, that they were supernatural. The media loves to romanticize things. I'm sure many people die at midnight daily. But to affect one of my own idols, mere days before the debut of their tour? No, it has to be a coincidence. I'm sure. Oh, they're cute. I don't know, Singe. Sir. Singe is fine. We're closer than that, Rocker. Alright. Social media exploded at Clace's death. Good luck playing it off as a hoax. The body bag was even on national TV. I'm not sure how we'll spin this exactly, but fans are starting to fill in the cracks. There's talk of it being a crazed fan. The work of a stalker, they say. It can't be. I've seen stalkers before. They're much more erratic. Not calculated. This has the workings of a serial killer. If it was a murder at all. A stalker wants to possess, not destroy. So their end goal was Clace's murder? Absolutely not. That's self-centered. We must presume the killer will still act. A serial killer doesn't just stop. I had hoped this was an isolated incident, but the MO matches these midnight dusts. Right down to the method of murder. It seems their goals become more grandiose. If they aren't done, then who's next? That's what chills me the most. A larger target than a pop idol? What's wrong? I talked to Jade earlier about these deaths. She mentioned they were all like suicides. At least half of them looked that way. There's another half that was murder. No confusion there. Gunshots and all. I was told that Clace died of asphyxiation, but there was no sign of a struggle. Do you mean... Absolutely not. There was no evidence left behind. If he took his own life, there would be. You can't kill yourself, then clean up. I'm very certain Clace was murdered. But it's these midnight deaths I doubt. Are we facing a serial killer? Or is this the media just making things up? These could be completely isolated deaths. Time of death being the same isn't that odd. I guess that's true. But it's not just that. It's time of death and method of death. A suicide with no evidence isn't a suicide. So there are two groups then? The mysterious suicides and the murders? But I'm still willing to bet they're both murders. You seem to have figured out a lot. I thought they'd keep Clace under wraps. I had to pull a lot of strings. But I'm glad you figured it out, Rocker. There aren't two groups. There's only one. This is assuming one major thing, of course. That we're dealing with a single culprit. And these aren't isolated in nature. So a murder covered up as a suicide, huh? Not very well either, it would seem. If they wanted it to look like a suicide, why would they take the weapon with them? If Clace was found with a rope around him, none of us would be doubting this at all. But this is the same throughout all cases. I believe the police are jumping the gun. There's nothing that labels these suicides, especially in light of one major fact. All of the victims were mentally fit. If we're dealing with a killer here, there's no way they're trying to trick us. They want us to know these aren't suicides. It's the police that are in the wrong. Or perhaps they are being manipulated. Thinking about this gives me a headache. Man, I wish I was in bed right now. I'm sorry for robbing you of sleep. I just didn't want to handle this alone. It's not a problem. Jade and Daz are outside as well. I'll stay as long as you need. Would you mind letting Jade in? We need to discuss press matters. We'll need to make a statement tomorrow. Absolutely. And Daz is here, you said? Please stay with her in the limo, and tell her what I plan to do with her. Roger. Moments pass. Hello again, Singe. I feel it's been a while. Too long, I'm afraid, and not under the circumstances I'd prefer. Indeed. I always felt bad for Clace. How people were blaming him for the murders. Just because his death started when we... Sorry, I shouldn't get into superstition. I just never would have guessed. Clace's death would be what absolved him? The people can't blame a victim, I mean. Indeed. And how do you think I feel? I didn't buy into these midnight deaths. I left him vulnerable, open even. I'm used to the media making up trends, even in completely unrelated things. I should have been more cautious of this. I should have assigned more guards to him. Perhaps this could have been avoided. I don't think guards would have helped, sir. Besides, have you worked on your alibi? Alibi? Bless you. Sorry, cat again. You were the last person to see him alive. And you two had a heated argument as well. You should drop that line of thought, Jade. Veiled accusations only hurt you in the end. The media will want to know. It's not me. That is what you asked me here for, right? So we can decide what to tell the press? I suppose you're right. That and the changes we'll need to make. The tour must go on as planned. The amount of refunds people will want makes me scared just thinking about it. That's a separate beast entirely. But first, how about we address the death? I think you need to be blunt. You shouldn't be anything less than honest. Tell them you don't know what happened. We're on the same page as everyone else. Let them know we're cooperating with the police. It's important that they feel in sync with us. We must not appear to hide facts from them. We'll make things public as the police does. You're right. There isn't much else to do, but we still need to talk about the tour. Indeed, and this is where we have control. I know what you plan to do with Daz. Rocker told me as we crossed paths just now. We shouldn't change topic just yet, though. Hmm? Remember the two groups of deaths? The group of murders and of suicides? I figured out something shocking tonight. The culprit for the group of murders? They were found. A week ago, Singe. What? And here's where it gets more bizarre. They have a watertight alibi. It excuses them fully from the suicides. They were a copycat killer, and they've admitted this openly. The true culprit is still at large. I see. But the police are still in the wrong. The suicides are not suicides at all. At least conflicting MOs aren't an issue. We only have to focus on the suicides now. Does this make it easier on us? Unfortunately not. There's just too much missing here. No suicide note, no evidence, along with the victims being mentally fit. If it was a suicide, there would be evidence at the crime scene. Instead, we have almost nothing at all. The true culprit must be an expert. They can tamper with the crime scenes. They can leave no shred of evidence behind. Just who could it be? It's likely a cop. Someone who's been trained in these things. It's possible. I have a theory, though. Something a little more bizarre than most. I don't have time for quantum mechanics. There has to be a logical reason for this. The murder started as our tour arrived. The killer must have a police background. Jade? Yes? Bring me Clace's security guard. I'll need to speak with him immediately. You mean... Yes. At this point, it's very logical. Our own hired guard could be the killer. Meanwhile, in the privacy of the limo. Hey, Daz. Oh, okay, so that's who that character is. She's shocked back into coherence. How's your shirt staying on? Sorry, I was a world away there. That's fine. I mean, given what happened and all. Part of me is worried, and part of me hates that I am. I'm not worried for Clace, though, and not even for those around him. I care more about our own careers. Who will you play guitar for? Who will I sing and dance alongside? And forgive my foolishness. I should have never said that. There's no need to apologize. I felt the same things. A death is absolute. It can't be changed. What happens to us, however? Well, it's malleable. Worry is normal. Perhaps it is also partly denial, one of the steps we go through in grief. Yeah, we can justify it that way. But at the end of the day, I'm scared. I've never seen Singe show any emotion. Idols come and go in this business. He just adapts without any hesitation. I don't want to be like that. Emotion is what makes us truly alive. I bet they're talking about the tour. We'll probably just address the press and then forget that Clace even existed. I want to feel sad, but can't. Is there something wrong with me? Am I becoming like Singe and Jade? They're in a fast-paced business, Daz. They need to roll with punches like this. You and I have time to adapt. but they'll be in the spotlight pronto. Also, they were talking about the tour. I know it's going to happen to us. That's why I'm not as worried anymore. Maybe I tell you, you'll understand. Then maybe you can put this worry aside too. Really? Yeah. Singe is engaging in damage control. He needs to minimize any refund requests. So the tour's opening night will change. Instead, it will be a vigil for Clace. Something all of his fans would attend. He's definitely playing to their grief, but it's a good way to retain the audience. And a bit scummy. Singe isn't seeming like a good character or a good person in my opinion so far. That's extremely cold. It's extremely Singe, isn't it? The show must go on, he said. I suppose. So, a vigil then. What's going to happen there? Have you heard the story of Japan's birth? Ooh, I know this. I know this. Excuse me? Is that even relevant right now? If you listen, I'd like to think so. Very well. Thank you for your input, Munchkin. Before the universe, there was nothing. A huddled mass of chaos and total stillness. It lay there forever, not moving an inch. But one day, it flinched, started to move like a cloud, and soon after that, like a hurricane. It moved and moved. Some chaos rose to the top, the light. This created heaven, or Takamagahara. Takamagahara. But some of the chaos was dark in nature. It wasn't worthy of ascending to heaven. It stayed at the bottom, becoming earth. Sort of. Let's see where this keeps going because there's a few myths with the Japanese creation myths, and so far this is fairly close. So let's just see where this keeps going. A kami was born between the light and dark, a god known as Ame no Minakunushi, our all-father of the originating hub. I'm sorry, I have to stop you there. I don't buy into this religion stuff. Who said anything about religion? I'm merely spouting myth. Are those not one and the same? Please allow me to continue. A large rainbow connected heaven to earth, the Rainbow Bridge. It acted as a bridge between worlds. Ame no Ukihashi it was called, or floating bridge of heaven. Two more gods came into being at this point. Their names were Izanagi and Izanami. Earth was still a puddled mass of nothing. Okay, that clarifies it. Alright. Because, like I said, I already know this creation myth. Because solid Earth wasn't formed until some actions that Izanagi and Izanami took. Izanagi and Izanami stood on the bridge. They looked down at this nothing in awe. Izanagi was gifted a spear from Minakunushi. He thrusted the spear into the dark puddle. Upon pulling it out, it started dripping. These drops stayed on the surface. They formed the islands of Japan. The first landmass on Earth was born. They were tasked with descending the bridge. They went down and finished creating Earth. Izanagi engaged in a purification ritual. He washed away all of his impure aspects, and he used them to aid in the creation. Our sun and moon, created by the impurities in his eyes, and storms were born from those in his nose. All of his impurities were used. After that, we were born, with a world to call our own. That's where it's deviated, unless I'm misremembering the creation myth. Because it's been also a while since I've read up on the creation myth, but from my understanding, Um, the the god of the moon and the goddess of the sun goddess, Amaterasu, um, were actually children born from Izanagi and Izanami. But then again, it's been like almost a decade since I read the creation myth, so I could be misremembering. But the washing of the impurities does sound like a logical truth to the creation myth. Just given what I know of Japanese culture and what I studied in college. It's awfully convenient. We're created from impure aspects of God. Sounds like a tragedy if you ask me. How does this relate to the tour or us? I'm about to get to that. Singe is altering the entire tour. It will be a retelling of this story. The set list will symbolize this creation. All souls will be offered to heaven, through that rainbow bridge, of course. Not just Claces, but all the victims. Elaborate. I didn't think Singe would do that much. Now I feel bad for assuming what I did. It's okay. You didn't know. So, will we perform covers then? Of Clace's hits and other relevant songs? You got it. But then you come in. The tour will end with a special surprise. A special surprise? Oh, is she gonna debut as an idol herself then? Yes, an announcement from you. You'll be taking over the world tour. You'll be headlining, Daz. You'll perform to a sold-out crowd. It'll be your turn for the spotlight. You'll finally become something more. Something more, huh? Yes, we'll be saying goodbye to Clace and welcoming a new idol to the world. I suppose I should be honored. I will serve as your guitarist. You have my complete loyalty, Daz. Thanks. But I'm not sure about Shock. Him and Clace are childhood friends. He may take this harder than any of us. Right. Well, if you'll excuse me, this is overwhelming. I need fresh air. Of course. I guess I should join her. It's getting stuffy in here. A shuffling sounds from the front seat. Oh, Clace's brother. Bro is dead? Would you like to say yes? Alright, we're gonna save here. And yeah, that's saved. I'll return Tubby here. Wow, we're still in chapter 2. Just checking the time. Velasquez's throne room, an undisclosed time. Please tell me you've allocated the funds. Of course, my lord. And Damien and Conrad will be paid promptly. There will be no reason for a delay. Very well, Dusk. Do you have any news of their journey? I did receive word, actually. They've stopped at the Wayfarer's Tavern. With the Savior in tow, I might add. This is excellent news. They should be here within the day. Unless there are any unforeseen delays. Thank you for informing me. You've done a wonderful job, Dusk. I am informed, and my treasury is full. I do as any loyal citizen would. Your flattery honors me. Please await their arrival at the gate. I have some matters to attend to in private. Of course. Suppose it was about time. I need to prepare myself for what's to come. Rayo, you can come out now. What? Hello, Velasquez. Sorry, that name doesn't convince me. I did not call you here to insult me. Right. I apologize, Master. I wanted to thank you. Thank me? Yes. Things are going as we planned. I don't believe we are under suspicion. It's going well, indeed. But of course it is. You have me. Yes, of course. Join me, Rayo. We should have a seat in our thrones. For today, everything comes to fruition. Kind of early for like a climactic moment. Though I guess is it really climactic? It's a bit of a twist, though. Actually, you know what? I think this is a good point to end this session. See you all next time. And have a lovely time.